You ready? Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Town of Pownell's regular select board meeting dated April 14th, 2022 at 7 p.m. I'd like to call the order. Board member roll call. Mike Gardner.
Angie Rawling.
Harry Percy.
Bob Jarvis.
Approval of agenda. Approval of minutes. March 23rd, 2022 special select board meeting. March 24th, 2022 Board of Health meeting. March 24th, 2022 select board meeting. The warrants. Payroll dated 4/1/22, 4/8/22, 4/15/22, 4/1/22. Accounts payable. Accounts payable 4/2/22. Accounts payable 4/8/22. Accounts payable 4/9/22. Accounts payable 4/15/22. We have a correspondence tonight. A couple of them actually. Cindy Legg has a letter of intent or interest for the Development Review Board. Excess weight permits, the animal control officer under that, and our animal control officer is present. Thank you for coming. Dog census, trap neuter return program, the dog kennel, transfer station increased discussion and possible surveillance of popular dumping sites. Municipal planning grant is 10, paper of record discussion and change, possibly. The ARPA motion to take a standard allowance. The RFPs that we had put out. 14 is the town hall. Eric Marceau's project management proposal list of items, generator discussion decision, tree removal, front entry door, privacy signs and procedures, handyman RFP or hired position, executive session for personnel, public comment, and adjourn.
So moved.
With the,
You were supposed to add.
Yep, so, I was gonna bring that up under discussion. That's okay. Do I have a second to approve the agenda?
Second.
All right, we need to add a liquor license in here.
Okay.
I guess we should have done that.
Can I
Approve it.
suggest,
and a minor,
can you put your public comment before executive session? I feel like that's,
making people,
Making people wait through
for-
like the silent,
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Sure, is it, so.
Sorry.
Let's make that change. And then we'll amend our
I
motion.
guess we probably should have, I would suggest that you have it before, and then if there's any, action, open it again.
So we'll have two public comment. That's good, good
I
suggestion.
think that's good. I think that's good.
So we'll have a public comment under 14F. I guess it would be at this point. The liquor license, let's put that as 7A. Excess weight permits and liquor license will do the same thing.
And one minor correction. On minutes, I think it's March 31st and 2 on the 24th, isn't it?
No, the Board of Health was the 24th and the Select Board, but there is one for the 31st, and I don't know if it made it into the packet because we were still.
No, it's in the
It
packet.
is in the packet.
I'm just saying it's wrong on the agenda.
There was a regular meeting the 24th,
Correct.
the
Yep.
31st, there should be a special.
Right. Right, but
But
aren't
it
we
wasn't
approving the
added.
31st, not the 23rd, right? My agenda says the 23rd.
I should say both. I think we're missing the 31st.
Oh, okay, so we're missing one.
Missing one, yeah.
I didn't see one on the 23rd.
But if the minutes are in our packet, then we can add that as the special meeting on the 31st.
I haven't looked at the packet. Are they in there, Tara?
The 31st is in the packet.
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to find it, but I can't read it.
You know,
So under 4, we'll add D, we'll add March 31st, 2022 minutes.
for special.
Select board special meeting, sure.
So many, because it's been weeks since we've had a.
Doesn't seem like weeks.
Special.
Grove. So,
So we added the liquor license under excess weight permits as 7A.
Andy, do you want to amend your motion with the changes?
Yes, I'll amend with the changes.
Second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Approval of minutes. Minutes of March 23rd,
There might not be.
22, special select board meeting.
So moved.
Second it.
Any discussion, changes? All those in favor?
Aye.
March 24th, 22, Board of Health meeting.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion, changes, corrections?
Has it been 30 days? What are we today? No, it hasn't. been
No, it
30 days.
hasn't.
Okay,
No, because the letter actually went out a little later
okay,
than it was supposed to, so.
okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And abstain, I would be present.
March 24th, 22, Select Board meeting.
So moved.
Second it.
Any discussion? Corrections? All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
March 31st, 22, Select Board meeting, special.
So moved.
Second.
Any corrections, additions? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Warrants, payroll, 4/1/22, $11,882.06.
You can do it individual. Because of the one thing you're,
Yeah, because of that, yeah. We'll do the next two payroll together, but this one I'm gonna do separate.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point. Amy.
so moved.
Second it.
Any discussion, corrections? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain. Payroll 4/8/22 for $99,6752. Payroll 4/15/22 for $10,411.09.
So moved.
Second it.
Discussion, corrections, additions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Accounts payable 4/1/22, $39,943.32. Accounts payable 4/2/22, $17,849.62. Accounts payable 4/8/22, $89,0403. Accounts payable 4/9, $962. Accounts payable 4/15, $17,707.84.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, corrections, additions? All those in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Correspondence. We have a letter from Springer Law Office, attorney-in-law. They're filing a petition for a modification. It came to the planning commission, modification to a wireless telecommunications facility at 684 Montgomery Road. This is just always, they always send this. Whenever a cell company, it's a huge packet. I didn't read through this one, but I have the other ones. They just always send that to us for approval whenever they do something on the cell towers in town. It's a formality.
So I make a motion that we sign it?
Do we have to sign it? Or just an informational thing?
Oh, we have to sign it because it's a contract.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that.
Because if they're amending the original contract.
Okay, I didn't catch that part. Second it then.
Better be safe than sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if we have to sign this, to be honest with you, Ange, but we'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay.
Any questions, corrections, additions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a letter of interest from Cindy Legg. She's been on the Development Review Board for a number of years. She sent us a letter of interest to be appointed back to the Development Review Board, and they do have an opening.
And we have no other letters to.
No other letters.
Are we free to go ahead and nominate, or do we need to allow more time?
I think
we're free to-
I think we're free to nominate, for sure.
I'll nominate Cindy Legg to be reappointed to the Development Review Board.
Second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Excess weight permits. Excess weight permit from Eiler Brothers. Excess weight permit from Casella Construction. Excess weight permit from Miles Lumber. These are all together.
Those are just the weights.
Yeah, that's just the weights. That's what I was looking at. Those are the only three we have.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, corrections, additions? All those in favor?
Aye.
7A, the liquor license. Yeah, how many's in here? Two, right? Okay, we have a liquor license for Pownell Market and Deli.
Check to make sure there wasn't a couple on the one that's in your hand.
There is one for the American Legion.
Probably inside and
Looks
outside,
like
correct?
3.
Yeah, there's usually two.
There's usually two.
Yeah. Generally. Unless we've already done the inside one and one for the outside.
No, there's two. There's two. I went too far. The sticky was on too far in. There are two. One indoors and one out, one for their pavilion. And then outside consumption. Okay, so there's first class license for club to sell malt and Venice beverages. Doesn't look like it, whatever. Third class club license to sell spirits and liquors. And then the outside consumption permit. Okay, so there's three for the Legion basically, and that's what the three of them are.
I motion we approve liquor license for the Legion, all three.
Second.
We all do them separate?
Or should we do them separate? Do we need to do them separate?
Oh, we probably should.
All right, then,
No, not the Legion. There's Pownell Market and Deli,
Right.
and then there's the.
two for the Legion.
There's three for the Legion
Legion.
and one for the
the
Pownell Market
market.
and Deli. So there's 4 liquor licenses total.
Right.
I think we can do the Legion, all 3 under one vote, and we'll do Pownell Market and Deli under a separate vote.
Oh, okay, so my motion was for the American Legion,
Yep.
all three.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion for the Center Market,
Pownell Market and Deli.
Powell Market and Deli.
A second?
Any discussion, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Brings us right into the animal control officer. You're up, Hunter. Awesome. General, I'm gonna hold these until we sign them.
Okay.
Okay. I won't take them out.
What order is it?
You are
Dog
dog
census.
census first and then trap neuter return.
Okay, dog census, as I've brought to you before, that it's a state law that we have to have it done every year, and I don't think Pownell's ever done it. So basically what it is that I have to go, somebody has to go through and obtain every dog information in town for unlicensed. No rabies vaccination. The town has to have an entire list of every one of those dogs. And you should each have a copy of the law.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a discussion about doing mailers or in person. I don't believe that the mailers would be effective because the town clerk mails stuff out all the time and they don't get returned half the time, they get thrown away. Me going door to door, I think would make a very big difference in that whole situation.
And if I can add to that, we did some quick math. It's gonna be around $600 without postage to send mailers, which might not get us any response. 600 would get him about 40 hours going to door. Which could produce a much better result.
And the census is due at the end of May.
I mean, with the known licenses you already have,
That's 195 the last I knew.
and you probably don't have to go door to door.
Nope, I can skip those.
That's what I'm saying. So you,
Do you have a rough idea on the approximate hours? I don't have a clue what it's gonna take you.
I honestly don't know, because it's all gonna depend on whether people are home. I'm gonna have to redouble back on those occasionally. But it would be great to have a rough idea of exactly how many dogs we're supposed to have licensed in. I've been to a couple different animal control calls that have nothing to do with the census at all. People are unaware that we even have an animal control officer. I've heard that I did not know I needed to license my dogs on several occasions. So with me going door to door, I can give people information and answer questions right there on the spot that a piece of paper can't do.
Do you have any concern about your safety?
No.
Things are different nowadays. They really are.
there's some
You want me
areas,
to wear a mask or is that what you're talking about?
Oh, no.
Yeah, bring a dog.
Bring my dog with me, are you kidding? Throw a tennis ball the opposite way, she's gone. But I'm not concerned about my safety.
And also, you have a breakdown from Julie that tells you what we're bringing in on licenses. So if we
That's including.
encourage more people to
After
come in and license their dogs, it's gonna be bringing more money in.
More revenue.
Right, and that's kind of, you beat me to it, but that's okay. I was gonna say, if we, every license that we obtain when you go out there comes back in, is gonna go back into your, which is where this is coming out of your budget, the animal control officer budget, so to speak. I don't know if there's enough money in there to do it, but whatever, we still have to do it. So we'll recoup some of that money that we spend on doing this. And it has to be done, you got a couple weeks, 3 weeks to get it done.
Yep.
But on the flip side of it, it's never been done as far as I know, so.
yeah.
I mean, I'm comfortable with having you going out and doing a dog census on a door to door.
Moving forward, I mean, actually, him going out and doing it this year, is this something that has to be required yearly?
Yes.
Is moving forward, can we add it to, voting? Like, add a piece of paper at the polls for people to fill out when they're voting?
My only
Is
concern
that
about,
allowed to do?
my only concern about that is that there are dishonest people out there who say, I don't want to pay for a dog to be licensed. I can just put on a piece of paper 0 and I've got 5 dogs out in the backyard.
Also, a lot of people don't vote.
Right.
And the other thing that this is gonna do is this, you get more people, because they have to have them licensed, they have to have their vaccines.
Yes.
And that makes the town safer as far as there's an altercation or whatever.
I'm all for it. I don't think it's an extraordinary amount of money to get it done, and I think there's a chance that we recoup our money anyway, or a significant portion of it.
Okay. What was next? TNR?
You have to,
Do we need to vote? We should vote on
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Sorry. I'll entertain a motion for Leonard to conduct his dog census on a door-to-door basis.
So moved.
Second it.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I was gonna amend just,
Give an hour cap.
no, if for some reason there is a situation that could create an altercation, back up, and I wanted to give them authority to contact the sheriff's department if he needed to take
Make
it.
another motion.
So just to amend the motion that,
Well, just make another motion, don't.
When you're done.
Yeah,
yeah, okay,
yeah, just,
just,
we
Yeah.
voted on that one, didn't we?
Yeah.
So just add a motion, Jamie.
so just to give
I'll entertain a motion that, if Leonard encounters a less than friendly person, that he has authority to contact the sheriff's department to finish his census.
second it.
Well, okay,
Well-
I'll make the motion, sure.
That's,
Any more discussion, questions?
Well, just, I'm not sure how official that is, but the threshold ought to be somewhat higher than less than friendly.
well,
I was trying to be nice, Bob, politically correct, is what I was trying to be.
Maybe amended to.
How about a threatening?
Yeah, and in his best judgment, in Leonard's best judgment.
I was just gonna ask that.
Yeah.
yes,
Like what, define threatening?
right, well, that's.
Your best judgment.
That's what I'm saying, your
You're a
best.
big guy and you're used to people. I'm sure if you felt uncomfortable, you would know.
But
Probably take quite a bit, but just
I
saying.
just,
No, that's fine. You have a good point, Jimmy.
And with the dog census too, a lot of people are very happy to see me out there doing stuff like this too.
Right.
Yep.
So,
You always get that 1%.
yep. Okay, so next is TNR
No, they have to vote?
again.
No, you didn't,
We didn't vote on
We
them.
didn't
you didn't vote on either one.
Yeah, we voted on them, on the first one. Right? We
No,
didn't,
you didn't make
Thought
it.
he
You
did.
stopped the
Thought
motion.
he
He was
did.
gonna amend it in discussion, so you guys gotta vote on
I
both.
thought we did.
No, we voted on the
Yeah, we
first
voted
one.
on
We
the first
voted
one.
yes, to give him
Yes.
the authority to go door
All
to
right.
door.
Right.
And then we made a
I felt like
second.
that didn't happen, but okay.
Yeah, we voted on that.
Second one definitely didn't.
the second motion was definitely not voted on, you're correct. Any more discussion on whether or not Leonard can, or whether Leonard has the authority in a threatening situation, to contact the sheriff's department? That's the motion. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Now
Now you
you,
go?
now you can go. You've been trying to.
All right. TNR program?
Yep.
Okay, so all throughout Powell, mostly in the trailer parks, we have a very bad feral cat situation. In the Green Mountain Mobile Home Park, there's been a white van spotted in there several times where they go into the trailer park, open a door, and 6, 7 cats come running out. They're just dumping them at random. I've seen sick cats, I've seen kittens running around loose all over the place. It doesn't make a very healthy environment for either animal or people, with cats going under trailers and defecating, urinating. It's not good for breathing. It's not good for the cats. They get sick, they give it to other cats, and there's so many. I don't want to use the word pandemic, but it's what it feels like. So I got in contact with Second Chance, and they have a TNR program, which is trap, neuter, return. So basically what it is I trap the cats. I bring them to them. They perform surgery on them to fix or spay or neuter. Later that day, I have to go back, pick up the cat, and then return it to where I found it. So we're not doing anything for the health aspect of the cat. We're just making sure that they can't reproduce anymore, which is a big problem that we have in trailer parks.
Did we happen to get the plate number on that
You
van?
know, I've told the person that I talked to try to get it in a non-confrontational way. And they'll be in contact with me if it does happen again, but it's already happened. We've already got the cats.
Right.
So the cost of the surgery is $10 a cat.
Do we know roughly how many cats?
Probably 60.
I would put it high 50s.
There's a lot.
Between Alta Gardens, Green Mountain, and a couple other ones.
It doesn't even pay for one cat if you took one.
I have a feeling that this is something you could put out a small fundraiser for and you'd get some citizens giving some money towards this.
Because you also need help.
Yeah.
You're gonna set like have a heart traps and then, yeah.
They
They're-
produce them, right?
Well, they have some traps, but I should probably have traps on hand anyway with my job. And there is a special trap that specializes in catching feral cats. It's called the Tomahawk Roundhouse. So it's a round trap and the door swings on the inside and sets the set plate. So the cat has to go in around the door and then hits the plate. The door shuts, slams it on top of it. Not on top of it, but it shuts tight.
Behind it.
And they can't open it. It's not like they have a hearts where if they scramble longer than 10 seconds, they can get themselves out.
Yeah.
These can't do it with tomahawks.
I find that, I'm sorry.
I've done my homework.
A very special machine.
I've done my homework.
It's important. Yeah.
I think it's a great program.
I think, I think the fundraiser idea is an excellent idea. I think that what I'd like to do is, I'd like to make a motion that we go through with the trap neuter or entertain a motion with the TNR program, trap neuter return. I'd like to put it on our website and all over Facebook that this is what we're doing. And, we're looking for donations, so it doesn't come out of,
Sponsor a cat.
sponsor a cat, Facebook.
go.
You know, if we got a couple $100, we got a couple $100.
Yep.
Whatever it is.
They would actually find a home.
I actually have a couple programs in line for any feral cat that's not claimed, which is why the kennel will be so nice when I get it. That I actually keep the cat there for a couple days. And they're willing to help me find, homes for feral cats.
So I think that's something that we should, I think that's something we should really try to promote on our public pages, on our social media pages. Okay?
Yep.
And then, so, I'll entertain a motion for the TNR program.
So moved.
Second it. You gotta
Any more
have,
discussion, questions?
But, and the cost is, we're gonna try to raise money, but then what about the cost is gonna be,
$10 a cat. He said roughly around $50 for or 50 cats.
right, so should we, I mean, what if, not that I don't trust your estimates, but what if it turns out to be 150 cats? I mean, it's hard to tell how many cats there are. Do we put a cap on it, maybe an annual cap or something along those lines to make sure that we're not, that it's within reason, right?
Well, I think that's a great idea, Bob, to put an annual cap. So just for argument's sake, let's say we put an annual cap of $1,000 and this Leonard catches 55 cats.
right,
It still gives us $450 to work with basically for another 45 cats. And I'm just being hypothetical, just throwing numbers out there, that's all. Not that I'm advocating for $1,000, I'm just,
The thing is,
I think that's a great idea.
and the other thing about it is if the theory is correct, and I hope it is, and it sounds pretty reasonable, but that means every year it ought to be going down because cats.
Yes,
right, in theory.
Yep.
Right.
And I've seen this program work pretty well in other parks in Bennington.
Okay, that's good.
Got a price on the,
Roughly,
yeah,
well, I don't have it in front of me.
I didn't know if you had,
They're about $140 a piece. But that would come out of my budget.
no, I understand that, but we're gonna wanna take and make sure we get some kind of labeling system and like you say, you got it on the website. That way people won't mess with them.
Yeah.
Hopefully people won't mess with them.
And I would,
So do you want to amend the motion with a cap, an annual cap?
can we do it?
100 cats a year is good.
Yeah, amend the motion.
I'll amend my motion with a cap of 100 cats
And it's a.
per year.
And to be clear, it's 100 cats at $10 a cat, but the donations,
Could exceed that.
well, right, but we need to be, what I was gonna suggest is the donations reduce the $1,000 rather than increase the number of cats.
Yes. Offset, you want to.
Yeah, I wanna offset the 1,000, so we'll
Not to
spend up to
increase.
1,000 if we don't get any donations. But we don't have, we're not necessarily gonna spend 1,000.
Right.
If we get donations, we might end up spending, if we get 500, then we'll spend 500, they'll spend 500. Just to be clear on where that goes.
And this is a program that they offer yearly, correct?
Yes.
They've been doing it for a while.
Okay. So I amended my motion for 100 cats.
Second it.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Dog kennel.
That's me,
Tagging her in.
yeah.
You're it.
So number one, I'm going to start with, I am going to offer to project manage this. Leonard does not have the time. And apparently I do. I just can't
She
leave.
volunteered.
Can't leave. Well, I want to help you because it's otherwise I have a feeling it's not going to get done. So I am going to offer to project manage. I will ask for action on that at the end, but here's what we have discussed. We have 3 possibilities of how this can go and where this can go. We want to discuss all of them with you, talk about the pros and cons of them, and then set up kind of like a hierarchy of priorities here on how we want to go forward. Because we will need to put a down payment on this structure. It is built in factory and brought on a trailer bed, completely built. It's only the connections that need to be done. So, and there's, okay, so our number one choice of where to put it, we think, is the town hall property right over there on the other side of the town hall. There's part of one of the considerations we would have to do if we have it there is that because we already have stormwater permitting here, we would probably have to evaluate if this, like, it already has permitting, we may have to add it into that permitting, like that's something we'd have.
And the permit.
We may have to amend the permit because it's not just like a shed, like we can just go to the zoning administrator, I don't think, because we're already permitted and we already have runoff, blah, blah, blah.
We probably should just check into that no matter.
That's what I'm saying, right? So that's the one, that's a consideration. So some of the pros is that it's very easy access for Leonard, but also for other staff. If for something happens, he can't get here, there's a ton of us here. We can go in and throw a bowl of water and a bowl of dog food. And the dogs would get lots of love from women on their lunch break. So also, it's all ready to go for electric and water. All of that trenching has already been done. Those connections exist. It's also, it's not electrified unless there are animals in there. It's not heated unless animals are in there. So it's low budget on that. So that's number one. One of the downsides we have concerns about that we have neighbors and.
Not only the neighbors, but the park, if there's kids down there.
So
I
we-
have
we
16
have a plan for
panels
that.
of kennel fencing that came with the old dog houses that are 10 feet long and then anywhere from 6 to 8 feet high that I can completely encase the.
We would
entire
double
kennel.
fence it so that there's a fence around the structure. So that's,
My concern was the dog seeing the activity of the.
oh, and then barking.
And barking.
Well, there's an option that I picked for both, an option called guillotine dog doors, which means if I want the dog to stay inside, I just let go of the handle, door shuts, dog stays inside, can't go out to the run.
So there's options, but that's a possibility, right? That there'd be barking now there's not always dogs here, so that's a good thing, but when there is a dog there, that's the
I can
downside.
just see the kids skateboarding,
Oh,
the
yeah.
noise of the skateboards and
Oh,
them going back
absolutely.
and forth.
Okay,
dogs
so
barking.
number two, the number two preference is town highway. Now Joel did bring up that he thought that MSHA would preclude us being able to put it there. I do have a note out. That's the mining and safety people. There's 40 acres there. Like I have a feeling that we can get a variance from MSHA and I do have a note out to them regarding
I
that.
don't think that the actual, I want to say not transportation, the building site, the MHA site covers the gravel pit.
Yes,
That doesn't cover that, so, if you were gonna put it on the road site, then that would be much next. Because there's.
apparently because
On there.
well, this is just what Joel said. So I'm speaking to MSHA about it. Apparently because there's access through there for mining work, that you do have to have variances and clearances for new things like that. This could be misinformation,
Okay.
but that's one of the boxes that we have to check, okay? The benefit of this, there also is access to water and electric there.
Right.
So, the benefit of this is that it's more remote. You're not going to be disturbing people in the same way. So that's the next preference. The third one is transfer station. However, the location would be further away. We'd probably have to trench. Here, we brought maps for everyone.
Tom and I
Yeah.
just talked about this, and Tom's here to back me up.
I'll just slide in here for a second.
Yeah,
So,
We have our buildings right here, the tipping shed, and we have electric at this end. Okay, right in here. And that would have to run a conduit underground over to this site is down below. We can't do anything behind the building because we have to get the trucks in there, change out all the dumpsters and stuff. So we can't use that. And I really don't want to get over here because it's getting too far away from the building. But we have no water. There's no water at all.
No.
I mean, we have water. We want to use it.
well, you'd be paying for that. Like that'd be an extra expense to bring in the longer electric trenching and the water.
Isn't there electric down at the, by the other sheds where you're disposing?
Yeah, the power actually comes into the shed. It's a 200 amp service entrance. And it only got like 3 or 4 breakers in the whole thing. Yeah, but it has a sub panel, goes up to our office is actually a sub panel off of that. So that pole down there is actually where it comes in.
Right.
So, and the meter's down here on the tipping shed. So this would go from the tipping shed across that parking lot and stuff. We'd have to get dug down, get some conduit down there, and we could run it down. Now, that being said, we have power, we could run a couple of circuits. If he had to come in and had a 500 gallon or even a 250 gallon tank on the back, you know, and a small pump.
Yep.
I mean, he could plug it in right there and it'd be a piece of cake.
So I have a question on using the transfer station down where they go in to grab the dumpsters.
That's up, just going lower.
It's on the other side.
Right.
On the other side.
But
We have another spot too.
when we put the power in, Tom, would we have to cross any of the new blacktop?
No,
Okay,
that is not blacktop to the back there yet. That's what,
well, so now,
now, if you're gonna do it, now's the time to do it.
okay, that was my, I hate to tear up new blacktop, so
Yeah.
if we were to say we were going to the transfer station,
Right.
my opinion would be to go underground,
Right.
bore,
We'd have
to bore under rather than cut the new
Oh,
blacktop.
because everything, all these things, all these trucks are going up, when they start picking up the dumpsters, they're pretty high.
Yeah.
And I talked with Leonard here on Sunday. I caught him in here when I brought the timesheets in. And we kind of discussed this, but it'd be down here someplace.
Yeah, no, but as long as we don't have to cut new blacktop, because I wouldn't want to do that, I would want to bore under the blacktop.
Yeah, right.
Which is just, it's not impossible, obviously, it's just an
It's
increase.
extra, I mean,
It's just an
it's-
increased cost.
Yeah.
Right.
And our town crew can't do that because we don't have a bore.
Right.
So we'd have to hire that out. Whereas just regular underground power, we have the equipment to put that in.
Yeah, we could throw that in.
That's right.
Okay.
That was my only question.
So that's.
So
yep.
that's an option. And we're only there 3 days a week. And it's not going to bother us at all,
Right.
And, the only person that could hear it would be Jake Barney over there, built a new house, the other side of the, his gravel pit.
But there's still a good tree line
I
right
was like, there's trees and
Yeah.
stuff there,
My,
right?
my question to Leonard, because my hope is that you stay as the animal control officer long-term, okay?
We're gonna give him a raise next year.
Number one, you're doing a great job, so, there's a couple of reasons for that. What is your preference on, because ultimately, 99% of the time, you're the person dealing with the dog going into the
Right.
shed, and you're the one who's feeding him and watering and taking care of. Dogs and cats or whatever other animals we use.
If we could figure out the water situation, I think transfer station would probably be the best bet because it's 2 minutes from the house. I live on Pine Hollow Road, so it's just a
Yep.
quick shot right there.
More isolated.
It's definitely more isolated. People aren't gonna mess with it there. They think it's a landfill. They're not gonna go down there screwing around with stuff.
Well, I think you probably still would do your double fence.
No, I'm definitely,
That's what-
we're definitely doing
So
security
that's
fence
good,
around
yeah,
it.
yeah.
If you put your water tank in the right spot, you don't need a pump. You can just use the pressure.
Yeah, we have a water expert.
I know.
You put it in the right spot.
Well, and
long as
also,
it
we're
doesn't
talking, water
freeze
tanks are
over.
not that expensive, right? Like, this is also, if we can't, that could be a small ARPA ask as well. To put it in the right location where it has longevity to be able to be and not,
Well, you may have to extend the building enough to store the 25 or 30 gallon tank. So it's in a heated environment. I'm just
But we're not
throwing it out there.
The way I'm looking at this right now, because I'm not trying to rush through anything at all, but I don't want to be here all night because I've had you guys here all night for whatever. I think our number one option right now, the way I look at this, is to try to make the transfer station work.
I agree. I like the
With-
transfer
with-
station.
To try to make the water situation so that it's not a cumbersome thing for him to deal
what
with.
are the numbers
either.
on the PFOA there? Like how high?
We don't have any wells that we can drink out of.
No, I understand, but what is the,
Oh,
what's the
if
number?
you get out of some of those piezo wells down there, 600.
Okay, because there's also the option of UV filtration, to actually just, you can also get a filter to like kill the,
We're not drilling wells.
oh, I thought you already had a well.
No,
I think,
Oh, the test wells, okay.
I think our best option is to come up with
Oh, a tank, okay. I thought there was a well, but it
the
just wasn't.
least cumbersome thing for you to come up with, or, that's gonna be the easiest for you. So if we have to purchase a 100-gallon plastic tank
Yeah.
that slides in the back of your pickup when you need to fill it, And then in the wintertime, we need to have a heat blanket on a tank over there so that it doesn't freeze.
Or we can store it inside the building itself with the heat on.
That's
what I'm saying, you guesstimate what you need for
exactly, you know, to me, that's our best option right now. It's probably our least disruptive, obtrusive
Yes.
option, because I like the option of having it right here, because on the town hall property, I really like that, because I think, number one, I think it's a really nice looking building, and it's you know, would add to what's going on here. But I think there's that potential for the neighborhood to really be disrupted if you have a dog that doesn't.
And if you're
nothing but
relaxed
bark.
with the park, that's a good
And
point
I mean, let's
too.
face it, some dogs bark all night long if
No
they're not
matter
where-
what.
If they're not at their
They're in the
house.
streets,
Just-
right. There's no trees really for shade either.
Exactly. Because they're not at their home.
Oh, yes, sir.
So I would think that the best thing to do is to try to make the transfer station work.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Okay, so then if that's the case, then these are the three asks I have for you tonight. Is one, I'm asking for you to give me permission to project manage this. I don't think it's gonna take a lot of time, but I think that he needs the administrative support there, and Tara will help me too with payments and et cetera, the administrative pieces. But I'll do all this legwork of finding out what we need where, et cetera, and then you've done site preference, so I would say I need you to vote on a site preference, and then I need you to approve the pulling of the trigger and making a deposit on the building of the building. Because it's a 12-week overturn.
There's a couple of, in the packet, there's a couple of, I assume they're options, right?
There are options because.
Yeah, Leonard can speak to those.
When I was originally went to Tim to set up the vote for the amount of money on what we're gonna need, I only put in the amount for the building itself. I didn't take into consideration the electric, gravel, all that other stuff. So I didn't know.
Well, it's pretty hard. You didn't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
Leave them more going.
Yeah, I was at a complete loss of that situation. So the 12 by 24 is the original kennel that I would like to get. And that's the grand total with all the options at the bottom.
So the total is 36,250, correct?
Yeah. That's without an electrician coming in, running the wire, hooking it up, no plumber.
Didn't we vote 38,000 to the?
Yeah, that leaves us 1,750 under the budget.
Yeah.
38,000 to the ballot article.
38,000 was the ballot article, but to his point, that's gonna cover the
Just the
building.
building with the options.
It's not gonna cover, the tie-in of everything else. And I just wanna remind everybody, as we learned from the budgeting exercise, is somewhere around $6,000 to $7,000 is a percentage point on taxes. A percentage point of the select board spending, of the general fund.
Right. So I guess what I was thinking about, Bob, here is that the total cost that he has here for this 12 by 24 is 36,250, which leaves us 1,750 out of the $38,000 that was voted by the taxpayers already.
If there's no unforeseens, and I think there's going to be. What I was gonna suggest, now the difference between the 12 by 18 and 12 by 24 is 4
box.
dogs versus 3 dogs.
Yes.
right?
And it's not as big on the inside in the middle. I couldn't find the floor plan for the 12 by 24, but there's an actual space in the middle between all the boxes.
Right.
So that I can actually maneuver around.
Yeah.
The 12 by 18, it literally has a 3-foot feed room where I walk in the door and I have 3 feet of space, and then there's three dog runs.
Well, but from a cost standpoint, this gives us a lot more.
Yeah.
To be able to.
That's why I gave-
For the unforeseens.
The lower I gave the other option is for that one.
But as far as the safety point goes, the individual working in there, having that full,
And the other.
moving the dogs in and out and.
The other factor I also have too is I have a lot of equipment at my house. I have a lot of, I have dog crates that are donated to me. I have all my regular equipment. I've got the temporary winter kennel that is in my garage. So with the 4 run, even if I wasn't gonna use the full 4, I could use one of those boxes for storage.
Now, the 12 by 24 is the whole enclosure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tom, can you give me an estimate on footage from the power, the available power to where the building would be located.
Well, if we keep it up towards the panel, we almost take it straight across.
Yeah, just
I mean, we have our grass clippings and stuff down over, but we can push them up. We can push them to
Coughing.
the south.
Want a cough drop?
But if we do it here, that'll go straight across there. And I mean, I can measure tomorrow.
no ballpark, just roughly. Give me a rough estimate. 100 feet, 30 feet,
Oh, less, probably 100 feet will do it.
100 feet and do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so 100 feet and we're gonna bury 3-inch conduit. I just did this.
What's the power requirements for that, you know? And so as soon as,
I'm gonna use 3-inch conduit right now. We probably don't need 3-inch because of the size of the wire, but I know what the cost of 3-inch conduit is right now. It's $80 for 10 feet, roughly.
yeah.
The last time I bought some. So that's, if we're going 100 feet, it's $800 for the conduit to get us over. We're not gonna bury a water line,
No,
but
you have to be down 18 inches minimum.
right, so, Joel just sent me a message. The town can do the site work, no problem whatsoever. We have the sand to bury everything in, to do everything correct. To do our site work. So our site work basically is our road cruise time.
Right.
Okay.
But we're gonna have to extend the road, cause it's just kind of overgrown and stuff, and we might have to cut it off, make it a little shorter. So
And that's something that we can do there
save
too.
us plowing and stuff in the winter too.
So-
Cause in there quite a ways it cuts around, but we might be able to just cut it off.
I'm just trying to make sure that we compare apples to apples and don't cut ourselves short for the sake of $1 that we don't have to spend. So if we're 100 feet or less, that's approximately $800 for 3-inch conduit. I don't think we need 3-inch conduit, but I'm just because I know what that cost is.
Yeah.
And then wire, I don't know what wire is gonna be because I just don't know
Well,
what
that's
size.
gonna be, there's gonna be a limit, it won't be copper.
So I believe one of the benefits of doing it here as opposed to on our site that is already cited and permitted and is small is that this can be done through zoning and DRB alone.
Right.
You won't need to go to.
Right.
Now, I think I'm gonna have to go through, I don't. I have to go through my permitting for the whole facility, not for this closed landfill, but for here. And I think I'd have to get, something from,
Is there a cost to those permits?
no, there's no cost.
So it's just paperwork.
Yeah, what it is, I'll call somebody, and unfortunately, last time I was here, we found out that Swallow died. That's the guy I would have called. But,
So I guess my point is with the 12 by 24, and it's the board's pleasure, not mine. Just make sure we make the most educated decision. The 12 by 18 triple dog kennel is $29,555, which leaves us $84.45 left over from the $38,000 that the taxpayers voted on. The 12 by 24 4-box kennel that Leonard is advocating for is $36,250, leaving $17,50 of the $38,000. I'm very confident that we can get the power into the building for the $17.50 or really close to that. Now, I'm sure, as Bob said, I'm sure there may be some other incidental things that we would have to come up with or whatever, but with our road crew being able to do the site work, that'll save us, a huge amount of money too, so.
And we were talking, probably 3 to no more than 5 yards of concrete.
Nope.
Where's
it's crushed
gravel?
stone.
Oh,
It's
just
crushed stone.
crushed stone.
You don't have to do it.
Oh,
You have to do 1 foot past the width, 1 foot past the length, 6 inches of 3/4 inch crushed stone.
really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on skids.
So that's even.
I was easy enough. Okay.
So the
Thinking
other
pressure
thing
wash
is
the-
that we can, I just lost my train of thought. I had something to say about. Oh, then I would suggest to you, purchasing a water tank, via Arvada.
Yeah, and that could be separate from this $38,000 budget that we're trying to do, building and power to the building.
here's the thing about a water tank. I wouldn't mind getting one, but at least 125 gallons that we could pressure wash up above there.
You read my mind, you read my mind because
And I have an equipment budget, so we get a pump, we get an electric pump and a tank.
you read my mind because I was gonna come to you, I'm glad you're here, because I was gonna ask you if
Do you need
we,
water?
if we were to purchase a tank for Leonard to use for his animals, okay, because I'm not gonna go the dog control.
Attaboy.
I'm going animals.
Attaboy, you wanted to.
It took me a while,
I
but I'm
saw
down
it.
there now, okay?
You're trainable, Mike.
Yeah, no, he trained me. He yelled at me enough times. So, rather than cut ourselves short on a tank, if we bought a 150-gallon tank where we could actually use it to pressure wash things at the transfer station.
Oh, I love that. I got so much stuff down there. It's been so dirty for years.
So let me ask you this. Could the tank and a pump and whatever we need to come out of your budget?
Oh, that's what I'm
that we
saying,
could-
yeah.
Well, sorry, I didn't hear that, but
No, but-
I think that really helps us a ton right there. What do you think, Bob?
I think so. No, yeah, I agree.
we bought the John Deere and the other stuff, with them and the broom we bought with them. We use it too. So why not use it for the animal control?
I can see multiple uses for I can see multiple uses for having a setup like this, okay? I can see multiple uses where if the road crew needed to whatever reason, needed a pressure wash on the side of the road to look at a piece of equipment or
Well,
whatever.
if somebody vandalized stuff.
That's right.
Whatever.
No, that's right. Where we had a mobile thing. I think this is something that we could use. I think it's money wisely spent, and I believe we have some tanks that we might even be able to use right now. Joel, has possibly some tanks that we can use.
Yeah. Why don't we, you mean the ones they use for the magnesium chloride and stuff?
No, I think he has some for potable water. They're available.
Well, we'll find out.
That's right. So I think moving forward, we can beat this thing all night long. I think
Yeah.
moving forward, I think the transfer station looks like, in my opinion, it's the place to go with it. I think it's time to get this project on board and get moving forward with it.
I agree.
Okay, so,
I'll entertain a
1, 2, 3.
motion to have Rebecca be the project manager of the new dog kennel.
So moved.
Second it.
Any discussion, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I'll entertain the motion for the dog kennel to be located at the transfer station in a location agreed to with Tom and Leonard.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second it.
Thank you.
Any
We
questions,
talked about
discussions?
Sunday.
Good teamwork.
Very good job.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So now actually, because if you've made me the project manager, I can just do this. I can just start doing it, but you guys need to decide which.
What size?
We have to
Size,
decide which
yes.
size.
Yes,
You want, it's a 12 by 13?
The 12 by 24 is the
12
one.
by 24. I make a motion that we order the 12 by 24 4-box layout kennel.
I'll second that.
Any discussion, questions? That's for a cost of
Yep.
$36,250. Is that a delivered cost?
Yep.
$36,250 delivered with so they can amend that motion with a deposit to be sent next week in accounts payable.
I agree to that motion. I'll amend my motion for that.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion?
Sorry, just gotta bring it up before we vote on it. Remember, that was approved by the voters for up to 38,000.
Correct.
But that's the next fiscal year that starts July 1st. Can we go ahead and send the deposit now?
What'd you say? It was 20 or 12 weeks
12
out?
weeks.
Yeah,
When you order it, we build it.
12 weeks.
you can
It's gonna
approve to
be-
take the deposit from one place.
Right.
And then replace it with the line at the next in July 1 and next fiscal year. What is the deposit, Leonard?
I honestly don't know.
That will make a difference on that, about where you take it from as well. So, can you quickly look that up?
I think they're closed right now.
I didn't know if it was on this or not.
I don't know if it's on the website or not. We can look it up.
Who are we getting it from?
Horizon Structures.
Horizon?
Yep, they're out of Pennsylvania. They have fantastic reviews. It's a family-owned company too. I don't know if that helps or not, but I love all the,
I gotta be honest, Leonard, everything that you've brought to the board since you've been the animal control officer has been, in my opinion, well thought out and well researched out. So from my standpoint as a select board member, I'm gonna trust your opinion on this and I'm not gonna question which building to get. That's just my opinion.
I appreciate
Well,
it.
I wasn't questioning the,
No, I understand that. And I know what you were questioning about.
21,000 versus 28,000.
No, I get that. No, I was just, I was talking to Leonard, family-owned company, whatever.
I like that.
I think that it should go without saying, from our standpoint.
And possibly not needing a separate shed to store things in with a larger
Well,
unit.
I just think it gives, it's what the taxpayers of the town of Pownell wanted.
And it's not just for dogs either. Like I said,
Animal control.
when we start TNR, sometimes we're gonna have cats left over. Might be storming out the day. I gotta bring it back. I'm not gonna throw a cat just had surgery out in the middle of a snowstorm. I'll
Right.
bring it to the shelter. Or if I got loose chickens again, they can go in there too.
Maybe a goat or two.
Gonna go to show.
Goats are in Alcatraz right now.
I'm not finding
So let's
on here.
let's amend, let's retract that motion and, let's retract that motion and just go with a motion to purchase the 12x24 4-box,
Okay,
at this time, and then we'll do another motion on the,
It does
figure out the financials
handle
separate.
placement.
all right, so moved.
Couple outlets.
Second,
What I need to know, what I need,
Any more discussion?
these guys.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Big of a,
So now let's talk about the, financial part of it.
like they haven't.
Okay, I'll find out.
Find out, let me know.
I think what we can
Guys, the
do,
crosstalk on the video comes off really loud, just so you know. Like really loud.
I think what we can do on the, if you so choose as a board, I think we could authorize Rebecca and Tara to pursue options for the deposit. As far as where the funds could come from until July 1st, until the next fiscal year. That was a great point, Bob. And, I don't know the right thing to do after that, whether we authorize them to,
ask Ellen as far as line items, line item options.
well, I'm thinking more along the percentage.
Yeah,
If it's a 50% deposit.
Right.
We gotta come up with 18 grand.
right. That's what I said.
Give or take.
10 or 20.
If it's a 10% deposit, we're coming up 3,600.
Right, ain't a big,
Right.
Okay, there's a big difference between a 50% and a 10% or whatever deposit.
right. I can't find it in the present paper,
In
so.
my opinion, if it's a 50% deposit, I mean, I know we're at the middle of April right now, and we only got a couple months, 2.5 months to go before the next fiscal year anyways. But if we have to come up with,
Yeah,
Tom has a good idea. He also was saying that the transfer station, what would be the maintenance
Or
line or
building fund.
the building fund, it could be borrowed out of that, he was saying,
It's going on.
possibly, since it's going there anyway, and then it could be
Then that'd be
repaid from
repaid.
the,
Come July 1st.
Then I.
There we go.
Probably settles that.
Yeah, I think so.
In my- No, that's.
I'm a big ass on it.
That's a great idea.
You're my Superman
Yeah,
tonight.
it stands for Shuey.
You're my Superman tonight, man. You're making everything happen for me.
That's.
I've got plenty.
I don't have a problem with that as a board member, for sure.
No,
No, because we're gonna pay it back.
right,
It's gonna come back, that's right. It's gonna come back on July 1st.
It's not like we're taking it, never giving it back.
8,000 in there, so that'd be half of it.
I can't
it's not gonna be a
imagine,
50.
I can't imagine that it's
Surprised to hear that
a
it's that much.
much, maybe a 25% deposit would be
Maybe.
my guess.
I mean, this building was
Maximum.
like
Yeah, we'll see.
little.
So, that would be my guess.
Yeah.
Grand, 7, 8 grand.
But that's what I would say about like 25%. I would think.
All right,
I'll entertain a motion to, authorize the expenditure from the transfer station building fund, building maintenance fund.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything with it,
It's just sitting.
really not a lot, so we're not paving the rest of it. You know,
be-
next year, hopefully we'll have enough to pave the rest.
To be repaid, next fiscal year.
So moved.
second it.
Any more discussion? Is everyone comfortable with that?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You have a dog kennel in a way.
Good stuff.
Animals.
all right, so we'll,
I'm very happy right now.
Oh,
I'm
it
gonna
says
be
dog
here.
kennel on that thing right there.
It does say dog kennel.
So that's why I said it. But the town of Pownell has a place for animals
Right.
to be
Animals.
taken care of.
Animals.
I'll walk and talk, I'll talk, are you leaving now? Cause I'll talk
Yes,
to you.
ma'am.
Okay. We'll take it out of the
Thank you very
meeting.
much, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I do the best I can for the town.
Hey, that's awesome.
Thank
Thank you.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Thanks, Leonard. I need my glasses back, man.
Transfer station.
Transfer station increase discussion and possible surveillance of popular dumping sites. So let's do that in two separate things. Let's do, the surveillance is something.
Separate issue.
Something Terry and I brought up, but we put it there. Let's do your increases.
I think the 15% is gonna give us what we need to cover everything. But I'm still a little concerned with these mattresses. I had it down there and the thing is $20. And I think the town's gonna have to kind of eat it up. We can use part-time, some of it for the, I can put that in with the free dump day type thing, you know, and use that because if we go $20, I'm afraid we're gonna be picking them up for nothing and still paying the extra freight. You know, I was thinking more like 15. I have to raise them some. I mean, you know, we're giving them away now, but what'd you think?
I don't think we should lose money on them. I think we should, if you want, break even. But
Well, we can't break even. We can't charge them $40 for them.
Right. We always,
$40 for one
the
man.
transfer stations, wherever it is,
Some loads I get $400 uptick fee on it.
operating at a deficit.
You know, and that's what's really hurting. And of course, now we're gonna pay the additional money on the hauling, but we did get them to drop it down $50.
Yeah, that, and you said the tire cost is going up a lot to
Tire costs are going
$7.
up. We got rid of the tires last Wednesday. And they came in and took them, and the guy called me on Friday and said, that's the last you're gonna give that price. The guy said, how do you get this price? I said, I don't know. It's always been this, you know, but now it's gonna jump up. He called me and told me.
My question to you, because I forgot the exact numbers. It was basically, by the time we figured in Casella and the hauling, it was a 27% increase
That's
across the board.
That was before I got him to drop down the
$50.
the $50.
So what is, would
About
the,
14% increase.
a 14% increase?
I got him down that much.
For hauling and,
Yeah.
Right, so what is,
Wait.
so what does that make our total increase becomes, because we have that 15, 20, and 25%.
Yeah, well, the 15.
Flow chart you
Yeah,
gave us.
yeah, the 15 that I showed you actually covers
It does.
it covers it, gives us a little.
Now that we have that, now that you got that other drop down.
Yeah.
Because initially, wasn't it 27%?
Oh, yeah, because that.
So my concern at that point, Tom, and I'll tell you exactly where I was going with this, but now that you've explained this tonight, my concern was if we only increase 15% and the town has to pick up the other 12%.
Right.
I
Have a
understand.
27%.
Right.
I was gonna go for a 20% increase, but if you're telling me the 15 is covering
15.
everything, I'm totally fine with that.
We may have to have another small bump next year or something.
I'm fine with that now, though.
I'm still keeping everything on the quarters. I'm not gonna get down into nickels and dimes.
No,
and stuff.
no.
And I get enough of those turned in as it is, you know?
But Tom called Casella up and harped on him on their, said your distance for delivering
I'm
us to
totally
their
comfortable
thing.
with a 15% increase if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, I am.
I wasn't at first, I'll be honest, because that 12% was killing me.
Well, that's why we have to come down here and talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
So, no, I'm totally fine with the
I
15%.
was very adamant with them, you know, and I thought that, well, here, if this is gonna be the case and we take that equipment from, we'll get, all this stuff, and we'll buy our own dumpsters.
Yeah,
You know, I said, you know, 'cause we're not gonna pay that much.
Right.
right.
And, yeah, I thought, well, we can do that, or either get a used truck. We got enough guys with CDLs, they could drive it down there. Ron won't get another one. He said he's not
What
going
is
to.
the board's pleasure?
If Tom thinks it's sufficient and it covers everything, then I make a motion that we go with 15%.
And the mattresses go to $15 on those.
I would, whatever your
Whatever
increases
your,
are.
I'm just afraid that we're gonna see
whatever you
way too
feel
many.
comfortable with.
The last proposal that you gave us was basically a 15% increase and the mattresses and stuff are separate.
Right.
Yeah,
So I'm comfortable with
we can do that now.
these proposed increases.
We had a Alliance, Solid Waste Alliance meeting yesterday, if I may, you know, change the subject a little bit. And, it looks like we're going to be getting a 30 by 70 prefab unit that we're gonna put up in Bennington for a permanent household hazardous waste facility. And of course, there's a lot of permitting there, it's gonna go, but hopefully next year we can have that thing done. We won't have to have all these
Separate.
these events because they're very expensive. And, you know, well, it's like Angie, my assistant down there, hanging stuff up. And thank you for that. Oh, I got the household hazardous waste ones that afternoon, so I'm probably gonna bring them down tomorrow and hang them. But they made a mistake. I mean, I screamed bloody murder about this about 5 or 6 years ago. They put household hazardous waste day and green up day the same day, and they did it this year again. And I told him, I says, do not ever, because Michael wasn't there.
Right.
He left in December, again in December. Michael Baxter left, he retired. And I said, oh, don't you ever do that again, please. Please, it really messes things up, you know? So they're having that, but if we can get the household hazardous waste facility done, then we won't have to have them. People go up, they may have to pay something. I don't know how it's going to go for sure.
That was what was discussed, was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
When we got where they basically brought that forward.
Yeah, but you know, they're not taking the household hazardous waste day. They're not taking any fluorescent tubes or batteries at all this year, which is okay with me. I don't care. We take them all the time, so it's not a big deal. You know, for the people of panel, you know, we take the batteries and we'll take the fluorescents. And so, but I mean, that's the one big thing out of the meeting yesterday that came out. So, and then one more thing. Well, can I have the board's permission to hang a Ukrainian flag on the building?
You have a United States flag down there?
You got the United States flag hanging up. I would put this one on the building.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, because I got a feeling we really need to show, you know, some support for these people. It's awful. My grandson has been over in Latvia. He's back in Germany now, but they're rotating them around in Europe. So,
I don't have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it. I don't know what kind of backlash, but I guess it's up to us as a board to
Right.
decide if we're ready for it, if there is any.
Yeah.
If we got some communists, we might have backlash, I don't know. And I don't care if they don't like it,
I don't,
you know?
But without, I mean, of course, I'm on with everybody else on the same side of that, but are we setting a precedent?
Well, that was my other concern.
But that's my only concern. Once you set a precedent, then who do we say no to, and who do we say yes to, and what organizations do we
My
say yes
facility.
to? Well, that's what, I think that might be the answer, is that it's his facility.
Yeah,
I'm
the town property.
not
That's
opposed
why
to that either, Bob.
Right.
I really am not opposed to that. I think from,
well, I've got one out in front of my house, 3 foot by 5, so I got 2 of them.
I guess,
The only reason I brought it up is there are flags flying on municipal buildings that I wholeheartly disagree with and wouldn't want on there.
Well,
And not this one.
well, hopefully not.
But that is happening, and it's happening more and more. So that's my only concern, is setting the precedent.
If you allow one, you gotta allow them all.
Yeah.
That's the drawback.
Make approval to this one, you know, is it when it-
I don't know if the board has to approve it, to be 100% honest with you.
Yeah, as I was speaking, I was hoping that the board didn't even have to.
Okay,
If you didn't ask, then we wouldn't.
well, that's good because I wanted to take it down now. I'll put it up,
I
yeah.
think this is your,
Yesterday afternoon, my wife said, well, it's better to ask forgiveness, you know. That's okay, all right. That's it, folks. That's all for me.
Thanks a lot.
thank you, Tom.
You're welcome, guys. My pleasure as usual. I know you people don't get paid enough, I can tell you that.
I agree.
It might be up to 50 cents an hour this year.
Do you want me to talk a little bit about the
It might
garbage
be up to
stuff?
50 cents an hour this year.
Yes, so sorry,
right.
Tom's done. Let's move on to, surveillance of popular dumping sites. So this is something that we'll, Executive Assistant Tara talk about.
So, over the weekend, past week, my kids went down to Pownell Beach, which is down behind Stewart's. The owners currently have the gate open, which it wasn't for quite a long time, so the kids are excited to go back down there. There is a lot of dumping happening. There are 7 mattresses, TVs, you name it. I mean, brush piles, people are dumping wood, brush, anything that they don't want to pay to get rid of, they're pulling down in there. So the fear is obviously that the owner is going to close that off.
Because it is private property.
Because it is private property, but it's not just happening there, it's happening at just about every pull off all over town.
Right.
Or
Side
certain
road.
sites that you can kind of hide and dump things off, and it's causing the road crew to have to go out and pick things up, and we're getting complaints almost on a daily basis of people dumping down by the track, over the pull off at Route 7, the pull off on Cedar Hill, it's never ending. So we were thinking maybe about some surveillance cameras of some kind, or something to maybe catch people and then set precedents and maybe put it out there so people aren't as apt to do that.
We have that ordinance that we put into effect.
Yeah,
Dumping, when we did the cover ordinance.
like, if they're caught, they'll be charged.
I think signs should be put up.
I could show you a picture of the sign that says, please do not litter, enjoy the scenery. And there is a pile of garbage right under it.
Oh,
I think the only way that we're gonna stop this, my personal opinion, or at least curb it a little bit, I don't think we're ever going to stop it.
no.
I think if we had some cellular trail cameras set up, and I think they're gonna have to be set up on lock boxes, and they're gonna have to be set up in an elevated position, which may mean that we have to bring in somebody to put them up.
We'll bring that with us.
And, The cellular cameras are, I can't tell you how many of them I have. They're pretty effective. They're pretty clear. They send some really clear pictures. Some are better than others. The initial cost is not huge. A decent cellular trail cam or whatever cellular camera is $150. Give or take, the thing about those is sometimes the plans, the service plans are where you get really nailed on some of them. That can become expensive to a certain degree. But what is the expense of having 7 mattresses dumped and 5 televisions? And when you drive down Route 7, you go 7 south and look on Barrington Road at the one pull off and look at 5 yards, 4 to 5 yards of garbage dumped over on that pull off.
And we're paying during green up day, if it's cleaned up or if people clean it up, they bring it to the dump.
Right, we gotta pay
We're
for it.
paying for it anyways.
Or
true.
we got, if our crew goes out.
To say you just say the devil's advocate, the other side of it is, I guess twofold. One is we're assuming that the trail cam is going to stop it, right? So we're looking at how much we're paying over here and that the trail cam is going to, it might be true, that's best case. It might be that, people in black masks do it in the night.
Oh, you're absolutely true about it. I mean,
The sad thing is if it works in that site, it might be a whack-a-mole. The trail cam at this site caused them to dump at this site instead.
and that's
That's the
Then
other
you
thing.
just have to rotate.
Just the caution. I wouldn't be.
No, there's no-
Do it with some, but on kind of a trial basis and doing it limited, like maybe at the beach and maybe at
can do-
1 or 2. See if it's working and then,
I can come back with research numbers on what it might look
Maybe 3
like.
cameras to start out with, or unless they've got a deal, I mean, because some of those places.
some of them, it's, you buy 4 and you get them, you get $150 or $175 camera and you buy 4 of them and you get them instead of $175 a piece, they give them to you for $80.
Right.
one of the
Or
things
whatever.
you think about though, along the same lines, right? So if you're talking like Route 7 where that pull off is and a couple of other places. If we're effective at shutting those off, you're gonna get a lot more in residential areas and on people's private property.
Well, as we get complaints, then we can shuttle. But the goal is if we are able to get enough evidence in the sheriff's department, boom, hopefully.
Hopefully you can actually catch somebody in,
I don't think it's gonna take too many times
Yeah.
that you actually catch somebody. Unfortunately, we're never gonna stop it.
And if we post a picture on the Powell site, we'll get our Powell residents to put a little peer pressure on the people that are dumping, possibly.
yeah.
Self-policing.
Town residents.
Self-policing, yes, if it's Powell residents.
I'm not 100% convinced that it's all Pownell residents that are dumping here.
Well, yeah,
Just
I
like
can tell you.
tearing up Browns Field, I had a lot of Massachusetts plates, a lot of people that were from Arlington and Shasberry when I took and run the plates, so.
Yep, and the same is true up on the dirt roads. I know that when I see them or when we see them, it's.
Especially the roads that are like where you live, connected to Bennington, and
Yes,
Yeah.
they're coming over into Pownell, dumping their stuff off and then going back.
yeah,
Go ahead, Hannah.
I'm assuming that other towns have had similar problems, so maybe if we did some research and found out if any other towns tried it and if they just experienced the trash being put somewhere else, if it really did cut down on the trash being dumped. I'm sure somebody's had to have.
That's a really good suggestion.
That's a great suggestion, and I think, so to expand on both of your suggestions, let's do some research. Let's bring it back to our board meeting on the 28th, and then we can act on it, because I think you both have some really great points.
I think it can coincide with the garbage trash ordinance that planning commission is working on to try to really clean up some of those, the high trash areas that people are really sick of looking at.
well, that's why we.
I'm sick of looking at them.
We're all,
We're all sick of looking at them.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we
Is everybody
had,
in agreement with that? I'm not a big table person, but I think bringing it back to 28th with some research is a really great idea on both, from all ends. We can research out the cost and, you know, what a plan or, you know, have some different options. We can research yours out, Hannah, you know.
possible solar ones.
Yeah, the solar ones are probably ready to go.
Yeah.
I know I got a few of them that work nice, so.
And do we have a budget line item that this would go to?
Well, no, but I was thinking, you know, I believe the planning commission is gonna ask for some ARPA money for cleanup of some high garbage areas in town, so maybe we could sort of do like a combination project.
Well, I think it coincides with, I know it coincides with what the planning commission is trying to do with their trash ordinance for sure right now. And I think now is the time to try to, I don't know if we'll ever right the ship, but we can at least get it,
Slow it down.
yeah, partway back up.
You know, it's, from my memory, being 4 or 5 years old back in the 60s, it was happening then too.
It's always,
Yeah.
there's been some.
Yeah, it's, you know, the only difference is at this point, the locations have changed.
Yeah,
It's still, you know.
Still
the same
happening,
thing.
just different locations.
Yeah.
well, that was my fear, was the whack-a-mole approach. It's like, it's almost like something you go in at a very high cost to shut it down everywhere. Or it's just whack-a-mole, or it's
Rebecca's up on the planning grant. I think we'll bring it back to 28th with the research from Tara and Hannah. If everyone's in agreement.
and coordinate with the planning commission, because they're working on, yeah, at least working on the junk ordinance, and see if there's any synergies there. I'm not sure if there is or not.
Okay.
The municipal planning grant is Rebecca.
Yeah, I don't know if she really has much to say about it.
She's got my neck in
She
her.
did speak with Jenny.
What's that?
The municipal planning grant.
Oh, well,
Yeah, do you wanna see it?
well,
Oh, was that you?
she put it on,
I'm sorry.
but
I apologize.
we've already had a conversation about it because, you remember last year, we're only allowed to apply for one municipal planning grant per year. And last year, Parks and Rec was ready to apply for it. We had a plan and we put it aside so the planning commission could instead apply, and we said we would do it next year. So this year is Parks and Rec's year to apply for the municipal planning grant. And it is for planning the town green area, which includes like, not just the park, but this entire little district right here. So Parks and Rec has some plans for that. So that's, she put it on because I think that, because they reached out to make sure that the town knew that they were coming up again. And so that's why she put it on the agenda, but we've had conversations since then.
She said that it was a grant that was discussed last year that they ran out of money for. And
Well, I can call her and talk to her about what it is, but I think that you need, because we didn't get it. We didn't get the
Right.
grant last year.
Right, and it was like the first year that municipal planning grant wasn't a rubber stamp.
Right.
Yes.
But the municipal planning grant itself has traditionally been used by planning commissions for things like writing the town plan and things of that sort. We were hoping.
And bylaws.
we'd get-
economic development.
Right, but, and we were hoping to get that used last year and didn't get the grant wasn't available.
No, we weren't awarded it. We applied.
Right, but point being is it wasn't a rubber stamp anymore.
No.
And it was very few, a very small percentage of the applications got, if I don't remember what it was, but it was something like 10 or 15 or 25% of the people who applied actually got the grant. So 75 plus did not.
Yeah.
At the time, we had asked the planning commission to go back and take a look at whether or not we could find an area for industrial in Pownell.
Right.
And to be clear, just to stifle the social media.
Not on farms.
Yeah, we were not looking to take somebody's farmland away. That was not the request. I would say let's find an area in Powell that's suitable for industrial, should we get the opportunity. That was it. But now I think what I'm hearing is that we can apply again, but it's one or the other. I mean, we only get one municipal planning grant. So the question then is, are there other grants that could serve all purposes? I think you started down that path.
Well, what I was saying is that, last year we were ready to, a planning grant is very specific to planning. And so Parks and Rec really wanted to, and it would also, it could be in collaboration with the Planning Commission, because we're not just talking about the park and recreation, we're talking about planning for the entire town green for this entire, so it could also include economic development possibilities for whatever. And so that was the plan. And last year, that is what we were told, was that, we were going to put ours aside and then come back this year and do it. As far as other grants for planning, this is the grant for planning. This is the
And
grant
that's
for planning.
traditionally for a planning commission, not.
No, not always, not at all. No.
She didn't make it seem like we need
No.
to reapply either.
Oh, yeah, we got to reply. I'll talk to her, but they're not going to just say, oh, here you go. I don't think. I'll give her a call and find out more about it, but, they do reach out to people who applied that didn't get it. And then they'll say, oh, this is your, it's coming out again.
You should speak to her because she
Yeah.
knows exactly.
Well, maybe there's some weird thing that we don't know about. So,
And my only point is, I have several points, but, and questions. The rec committee, before we had a town rec committee, it was the planning commission that was planning and focusing on the town green, the town hall, the park, things on Center Street.
Right.
That was part of the planning commission's purview. Is this too many cooks, or is it, where does that belong? Does that belong with the planning commission? Does it belong with the rec committee? What we don't want to do is have committees either stepping on each other's toes, or one committee, these super committees where it's the planning commission plus the recreation committee. I'm not sure that, I just want to make sure that we're all staying in our lanes, that's all.
this is what she sent you?
She
This
said
is
that was
last
the
year's application.
Yeah. And her words were, the program had run out of money.
Yeah.
Now they have more funds for the program.
So then
And
we
that
find out is the
they would
question, is we just
cover
want to,
$15,898 of the $16,775 cost,
so she's literally saying that we're coming back and we're going to fund you now.
literally. That's what I wrote up for
Yeah.
select
Oh,
board
that's what you
members.
wrote.
Yeah, because that's what she told me on the phone.
That's her interpretation.
All right, so I'll call her tomorrow and see if we have to reapply. Or if they're just saying we're going to people that we put on hold. And grant,
She asked me to seek select board approval.
seek select board approval to go ahead. With reapplying or with just going ahead?
Going ahead,
Oh, wow.
but
But we gotta find out if we have to reapply.
yeah, if we have, that is not the.
So it would be the total project cost is estimated at 16,000. The grant would cover 15, and so we would have to pay out of pocket
Right,
for
another
1,000 of it.
What was the project?
It was for seeking industrial.
Right. And that's exactly what she said, seeking economic development.
Right.
Which, if I remember correctly, we had,
Requested them to do that.
right, we requested BCRC, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just,
Well, if
No,
we were to
we-
get
we
this,
didn't,
we were gonna RFP it and then you.
but they had a recommendation.
They're the ones who recommended to do this grant. They came in and they said, and then we said, okay, but we were, Parks and Rec was like, okay, but we're hoping that we had a plan for it. And then we went for VOREC instead. We said, we'll put it aside, we'll put aside municipal planning, and we focused on VOREC, which paid off.
Right.
So that's a good situation. But if this doesn't preclude us from applying again, like if Parks and Rec can apply again, like that's the question, like, does this preclude us from?
Well, I think at this point, in my estimation, I think taking the $15,000+ that if it's available.
Yeah.
Which they're telling us that it's there, to do that industrial study.
Correct.
Yep.
That way we can stop all of the speculation or the rumors that we're trying to take somebody's cropland or whatever else.
Right.
So in my opinion, for $1,000 that we have to spend, whatever it is,
Absolutely.
to stop all the speculation or the falsifications, then that's money well spent.
Yeah, and the goal really is to send the message and make it obvious that Pownell is open for business. We are open to the idea of a larger employer coming in, and we've got a place for it.
Right.
If the opportunity presents itself, and it may not, that may be the outcome of the study.
That's right, but at least we'll have a professional opinion on whether or not we are or are not open for business, so to speak. And it won't be Joe's Beer Fest that's giving us the opinion. It'll be a professional opinion that's come across and says, yes, you have suitable sites. Here they are, bang, 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 or you know what, there's really nothing there.
Right, and I agree totally, and I think that's the better bang for the buck because, always for economic expansion. But does that negatively impact the monies for the?
All I want to
Green.
know, and I can find this out in 2 seconds tomorrow, is does this preclude us from doing a municipal planning grant this year for Town Green? That's it. And it sounds like maybe not, that they've just decided to include people that were discluded. So that's a very simple question and easily answered. And if it doesn't preclude us, then I mean, this is a no-brainer, do the work.
So
Okay, that sounds good.
I'll entertain a motion to move forward with this municipal planning grant as long as it doesn't preclude us from a grant this year for the Town Green.
Okay.
And not part of the motion, but to be clear, if it does preclude us, then we need to come back together and have another discussion. Right.
Yeah.
Which you should probably do in a special because it sounds like they need an answer. So we would do that next week.
And that's fine.
Okay.
I'll second that. Oh, you were.
I was just looking for the motion.
The motion.
So
I'll make the
moved.
motion that we investigate municipal plan.
As long as it doesn't preclude us from.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry, Angie, did I steal your motion?
No, that's okay.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Paper of record discussion, whether we change that or not.
That was me. I will present my case and then you will discuss. I know why we went with the other paper. And it's fine for some things. I have found, since we've gone through a hiring process a few times, what we've had to do is double advertise because we don't get responses on job postings in the shopper, but we do get them from the banner. So it's clear that there's a readership differential. And so I'm the one who brought this up to ask you guys to consider turning our paper of record back to the banner. And I know you all have opinions about it, but that's my recommendation is to do that. And I take no offense if that doesn't happen.
From my standpoint, there's nothing to prevent us from putting advertisements in paper that is not our paper of record. So if we're advertising if that's the argument, if we're advertising for personnel, it just makes sense to put it in the banner, whether that's the paper of record or not.
But you have to also post in your paper of record. So it would be double posting,
Bids as well, like,
several $100s.
How much is it to post in our paper of record right now, Tara?
Several $100s.
Yeah.
In the shopper?
Or for the post, the shopper, no.
Oh.
The banner was the expensive.
Right, so-
The shopper takes longer.
Yeah, like we missed, yes.
You
you
miss
get-
deadlines very easily with them because the way they.
For RFPs, that becomes a problem.
very
For
big.
instance,
And a lot of people.
Megan had sent in an RFP for gravel crushing and they didn't even send the approval for it until, and it was gonna be posted 3 days before
Right.
the RFP expired. So like that was a problem that we came up with there as well. I found that in the email record.
But I also noticed that when the last RFPs were posted in the banner, we were charged so much because it was a full RFP instead of.
Just saying, go to your website. Right.
See our town website or
Right, so
something
we,
like
so
that.
we itemize it down a little bit or summarize it
Right.
and add, go
Are
to
we-
the town website for the full article.
Which, okay, so if we just sent to the banner, if we sent the full RFP, just so everyone's clear on this, I am. And I think everyone on the board is clear on what's, I just want to make sure that everyone watching is clear. If we sent an RFP to the banner, which was a complete RFP of, 5,000 yards of gravel, blah, blah, blah,
bad.
versus saying the town of Pownell is requesting RFPs for the gravel crushing, please go to the website. That's gonna be much less expensive.
Yeah.
And does that meet the requirement?
Yes, I believe so.
And from my understanding to warn meetings, they don't have to publish that stuff. You just have to have receipt that you.
You would never pay, except for a quasi judicial meeting, you'd never pay to put like a select board meeting in
Right.
the banner or any paper. You just have to show that you sent it to them in email. They don't have to post it.
So I think there's a couple of things that we really can do to cut the cost down. One of them is to be more efficient with RFPs or
Anything
or
that-
job postings for that matter. We certainly don't have to put the full job description. They can go to our website where it would be readily available without changing our paper of record. Or,
No, well, I guess the point here, and it's a valid one, and it pains me to say it. But it is that.
me too, Bob, I'm on the same page as you, okay?
We are.
Saw that bill.
We need to post in the one paper in order to get the responses that we need. But the paper of record is also a requirement, so it's a double cost. So by not having the banner as our paper of record, we're paying for the same advertisement in two places.
So
If you want responses, right?
So unfortunately, it makes sense to change our paper of record to the banner. But it also makes a lot of sense for our RFPs and our requests for employment.
Oh, yeah, to abbreviate them, yeah.
That's right.
Summarize it.
Cut them way down and if someone's interested in the job or bidding
they can
on
come to the
something,
website.
they can certainly go to the
Or
website.
even inquire and
Or
ask to pick up a
that's-
piece of paper.
You just,
Yeah.
or her number's on there, they can call her, she's gonna have all the information. And if she's not available, Hannah's gonna have the same information and be available.
Right.
And the one that goes in the banner just ought to have the link to the website. I realize that paper is not a link, but the website and then how to navigate to the details. That's the one that goes in the banner. Then it'll at least direct them to where to find the information.
Any additional questions, call.
Yep. But we need some amount, yep.
I'll entertain a motion to change the paper of record. Oh my God, this kills me. Entertain a motion to change the paper of record to the banner from the shopper.
So moved.
Any more discussion?
Just a second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I say something? Oh, go ahead.
All those opposed?
Opposed.
Sorry, Ange.
That's okay.
No, I didn't, I should have asked. That's what I was sorry for. Not that you, I gotta tell you.
I know what you're saying.
I agree with you, Angie.
I want to say something just as your press liaison, the person who talks to the banner all of the time. I mean, maybe we can make this another agenda item at a future meeting, but I would like to talk to you about how to work with the press to make it more, like some more representative of us. And I know I've talked to all of you about this before, but that doesn't just fall on the banner. That also falls on us to make sure that we are equally represented in the banner. And some of that has to do with being upfront with our communications with them and also being willing to speak with them and to speak with them at length and not to just immediately shut the door on them. I have found as I have developed relationships with the banner that it changes. It has to be a relationship. As a municipality, I believe we need to have a relationship with our press. That's why I asked you to let me, I remember years ago coming in here and well, over there and begging you guys, let me speak to the banner on your behalf because we weren't talking to them at all, you know, and for better or for worse or whatever your opinions are, that paper reports what happens in town and people read it and it has an effect on how people view. So that's just what I want to say. This, as I'm speaking as your press liaison right now, that this is a conversation I would like to continue having and just work on some strategies to develop that stronger relationship with the paper, despite our opinions of them, okay?
And to be clear, that engagement happened and in a very recent article was completely ignored. Facts were ignored and it just, and old things drudged up.
Yeah.
Just because there was an opportunity.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a lack of information and it was not a lack of communication. They had the facts and we had engaged them in previous stories. So I don't totally agree. I think there is some hostility there and I think it's directed at Pownell. And I think that they have their friends and they have their enemies or their perceived enemies. But I don't disagree that we need to engage. We absolutely need to engage with the press as best we can. But the irresponsibility of it is really sticks in my craw.
Yes.
I'll put myself on the record right now of saying that I will have no problem engaging with the banner reporters. As long as the banner has, in my opinion, and I don't think it's just the banner, I think it's papers in general. It seems like they have, just as Bob just said, they have this tendency to keep digging up dirt on Pownell. And I'm sick of it. It's time to move forward. The dirt needs to stop. The shovels need to stop. The rakes need to stop.
And it's not just the digging up dirt, it's the spin to create dirt.
That's right. And that's, for me, that's what makes me the angriest with the banner. And if they're willing to come in and say, okay, this is the way we're gonna work, I'll work with them all day long. And I'll go on record and say that. But that spin of lack of facts or
Inaccuracy.
twisting them and the accuracy needs to stop. That's where I have a problem. And I'll go on record and say that, and I don't have a problem saying that, obviously.
That was my issue, why I was for changing it myself, because of the inaccuracy when you spoke to them.
When I spoke to them?
No.
Oh.
If I spoke to them and even when I sent an email and I got chastised in a local store and I happened to, because I figured it happened, print the email with me, I said, come out to my truck. I said, this is what I sent to the banner. Is that what they posted? Nope. That's why we got to where we are right now.
Right. And I know how you got to where you are right now. And I guess what I'm saying is that I'm speaking about the banner and the media as a reality.
Yes.
Regardless of our feelings about them and the reality of the
And that's
effect.
why we voted for
Right.
it, to make them.
Right. And I think we've just shared our willingness.
No, I'm not complaining. I'm
No,
just
I
saying,
know,
I'm
I
encouraging a further
I understand.
conversation because it does help.
Oh,
It does
for
help to
sure.
bring a more balanced story when we're much more loquacious. And the other thing too is that if we are more willing to especially write something, as you said, if they do print something wrong and we have the full context of the email
Right.
that quote was pulled from, that's a benefit to have, that you're engaged in the conversation, not just shutting the door on it. So that's my only advocacy. I'm not complaining about any decisions you've made or anything like that. This is just me speaking as someone who does this work trying to just advocate for kind of like a more structured approach towards it.
I agree with that. I agree with what you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
But that was the biggest benefit from engaging. It wasn't that you developed, to me, it wasn't as though you developed a relationship, because I've gone back and forth and I've been very friendly with many of the individual reporters. And still got, and still didn't have the impact, the impact that you wanted. When you get the impact that you wanted, it is going back and forth to create a public record that you can, just as you were just pointing out.
I'd say, talk about it all the
Go
time,
back and
to create a
forth,
perfect public
creates the
record.
public record so that the story then can't go in that direction. But it is a lot of effort and it takes time.
That's why you
And,
told me to do it, right? It does.
It's almost like correcting someone's homework constantly. But anyway.
All right, well,
I won't
thank
mention
you. I don't need to go any more in the weeds on that. I just.
ARPA,
Pass it.
There's two.
Oh, ARPA is just, you guys need to take a motion to take the standard allowance instead of doing the crazy reporting thing. The recommendation from Cynthia is, I mean, most small towns in Vermont are gonna do this because you don't have to do all the crazy federal reporting because it's a small amount of money comparatively to these other places in the country. You take a motion to take your ARPA money as a standard allowance. Her recommendation is to leave your ARPA funds on an ARPA line. It's still your general budget. You can still, it's at your discretion how it's spent. But there's no more reporting, but keep it in the ARPA line, keep your own internal,
Sub.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but there, we won't need to report that anywhere. So we just need a motion from the board to take the ARPA money as a standard allowance. And then we can do that.
I make a motion that we take the ARPA money as a standard allowance as it comes in.
Second.
any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Losing my voice.
That's a good thing. No kidding.
People want to know where that money goes.
RFPs are gravel bid.
I'm out again.
We had one
Let me know.
bid, from Basin Brothers. I believe everyone saw that. I think it was $7.45 a yard
Yeah.
versus 5 and change last year.
Fuel cost.
Joel's recommendation is to go with Basin and
He
to,
was doing 1,000 less, correct?
right, he's doing 5,000 yards versus 6,000 last year,
Yeah.
so we made the right decision last year to do the extra 1,000, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good on Joel's recommendation last year, so thank you for that, Joel. I'll entertain a motion to accept Basin's gravel crushing bid for, I think it was 745 yard.
So moved.
Back it up.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Town hall.
Do you have to sign on it?
You put me here.
We can't go on a town hall yet.
No?
We don't wanna forget about cleaning and IT, do we?
Is that out
Oh,
here?
sorry.
So, yeah.
I didn't have that written down.
The
That's,
RFPs,
Oh,
kind of grouped them all together because there were so many.
oh,
But
okay.
you do have them in your packets.
Yeah.
So we only got one for IT, and it's the same company that does the school systems. What's the name? Email came from Adam Suzor.
So the price, is that less or more than what we pay now?
It, I believe, is more because, Buck is not charging he charges a project cost, which is different than how this company sets it up. This company does it, by workstation. They have it quoted at 25 workstations, but we don't have anywhere near that. I think we have 10.
But are they do it as a rental type thing or? I guess that's
Don't
when
believe
you
so. It's
break it
billed at a
down that
flat
way.
rate and unlimited basis. This is
Okay.
the pricing model. That one right there, yeah. Yep, that's the IT. The only thing we got for IT. Chuck did not provide us another bid. I'm not sure why, but,
Maybe when you retire.
and this is everything they sent me, so this has like their, response time.
Adam's Suzor.
So my question was, when we go out, for RFPs and we only get one, Is it okay to then research some other companies as well, reach out to say 2 more?
It is, with this.
So we get
are you-
3?
Which one are we talking about? The
IT.
cleaning? Oh, IT, we're talking about IT. Okay.
Yeah. So we only got the 1. Do
But
we
yeah,
wanna-
we can absolutely, say that, we want to do a little bit more budget shopping if we want.
Like Hannah and I could research a couple more companies.
Yeah.
See
And
what we
check
can
with
come up with.
Bennington and Shasberry and see who they have,
Yeah, and see what
or
other,
even Williamstown.
Yes.
And maybe, reach out to that company that they use.
definitely, that's what I'm thinking, a better place to go with this, because we only got the 1 and it's higher than what we're used to.
Right. I almost fell over, but that's okay.
It was for 25 stations, but still.
I think we should, allow Hannah and Tara
Absolutely.
to reach out to some,
And bring it back to us for next meeting.
yeah, and bring it back to us on the 28th for the IT.
Yeah.
I agree.
So the other one was the cleaning, and I think we have 3. I have one from Roger Boudreau, who is the person who's been doing it on the weekends, the old place and here. Priscilla Maxon, she gave a rate of 25 an hour, estimated at 3 to 4 hours weekly, or bi-weekly at 4 to 6 hours.
And I just have a question. Are we purchasing everything now for them to use?
No, Roger brings his own.
Okay.
That's
That's what
that's
I
my
thought, but I was just
believe.
asking.
Yeah, and she, Priscilla does not want to purchase the
Right,
places. She
she's-
would want them here.
Right.
And then there's a Brian Bushy, $165 per clean. It's the Aim to Clean LLC.
I hate to ask this, but
Sorry, it's Amy Bushy is the owner. The email came through from Brian.
would it make sense for, I think, you and I to maybe talk to Joel about, perhaps, using somebody on his team, because I think he hires part-time employees on a pretty regular basis to roll that in, and he's also got the structure for personnel and other things. We might be able to combine some of this and save some money.
And that's actually under the new town hall discussion, but we can have that now as a RFP discussion, because it's a handyman. You guys had discussed
Yeah,
going out to
utility.
bid for handyman or hiring a position, but they could, you're right, do the cleaning as well.
So you're talking, so it'd be a utility position.
I think we want to, or,
In that
and
situation.
even if it wasn't a full cleaning, it would reduce the scope of it could reduce the scope of the cleaning RFP.
I agree with you, Bob, because on Joel and I had a discussion out here in the driveway one day, a couple of weeks ago, about that exact thing, about where now with, and it was more or less geared towards the winter maintenance part of, now we have a significantly larger area to plow and maintain, town office wise, whereas the town crew is gonna be delayed getting here to open up the town office, really, where we would use a handyman or whatever you wanted to call it, where Joel could use him as well after they got, because we do contract out, exactly as you said. He brings in extra help on big storms or whatever.
Yeah.
And if we already had that part-time person that Joel thought there was enough, he could keep them busy. So I think we should get him involved in this, cleaning up Sanders in the summertime, 10 hours a week or whatever it was, and they clean here and they
And if
do,
they came in at 6 or 7, they did,
and there's,
I mean, that doesn't disrupt anybody.
they could do the garbage cans.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Is-
sites.
The parks,
Yeah.
yeah, that's.
So I think that's definitely a discussion, rather than go on to the cleaning at this point. I think we can stay with, Mr. Boudreau, who's doing it right now for the time being, once a week. But I think it's something that we really need to reach out with Joel and brainstorm a little bit. I can probably do that with him before the next meeting, meet with him, at his convenience as long as it fits in my time block, but I think we could work that out.
Are we
Yeah,
gonna,
with my work schedule, I'm not all that available, but next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I intend to take off. I have intended to take days off and not follow through.
Wednesday could work because I have a meeting with,
meeting?
I have a meeting with the Cemetery Association Wednesday morning. Is that 10:30? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It's on one of your sticky notes. I gave it back to you, so I wouldn't lose it.
It's right here.
I know it is. So maybe I could incorporate Joel into Wednesday. Or, you and I, Bob, Wednesday afternoon at noon time or something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you just let me know what time and I'm.
Okay. Does noon work for you?
Noon works for me.
I would think I could be done with the Cemetery Association at 10:30, be by noon. And then,
Let's see, if that's a day off for me, then I'll set my alarm for 11:59.
so can we reach out to Joel? He's watching anyway, try to meet next Wednesday if he's available at 12 o'clock, meet right here.
And if not, Thursday also works, Friday also works.
Okay. This Friday works for me.
And of course, weekends.
Well, I got something going Friday. Friday morning would work for me.
Just so we're clear, we're going in the direction of hiring a part-time. Or you want to discuss it?
I want to discuss it with Joel. I don't know if we're going to go in that direction, but I think at this time for me, there's enough things, I think, from when I had a discussion with Joel about that because a lot of it had to do with winter maintenance. But there's also a lot of things that person could do in the summer for the road crew, such as, cleaning up the sanders and just different odds and ends. Joel had, some work that would help keep our equipment in, better shape
To be
too.
honest, there's stuff here too, we can keep.
No, there's right. There's a few things. No, there's plenty of things and there's.
I feel like we're always grabbing a road crew guy, we're like.
More desirable job.
Right, and there's also going to be, especially this summer, with the schoolhouse being moved, there's going to be a lot of things where it could save us money on the long run if we had our own person making dump runs or doing whatever with one of our town trucks or whatever.
Call them a utility maintenance person.
We can name it whatever we want. It doesn't, but I mean, I think there's a little bit of a need for it, so. And I
To
think,
be clear,
Town parks clean.
I'm not displeased with any of the proposals we got, and I don't think the board is. We're just
No.
looking for ways to save. If there's some synergy there, and if there's a way to save taxpayers money, we want to explore it.
exactly. Make a combination type thing, whatever. Do you have any more RFPs? Those are only 3, right?
I do believe so.
The IT cleaning and the gravel and right?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's go back to my pile.
Now we can go into the town hall.
Okay, I think that's me. I've been talking with Eric and he has developed this list of the phase 2 stuff. And basically, I think we just, need to discuss it if anybody has any questions. And he would like to continue as project manager on phase 2. For me, it's kind of a no-brainer because he knows the most about the project and kind of walked me through like where it's at. He's gonna be meeting with, Mike Connors to discuss what needs to be stripped from the building. And he's not sure, there was talk that may be being done by volunteers or something. I don't know if anybody remembers.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a lot of stuff done by volunteers.
So
That was
But
something.
I don't think any of it happened.
No, that was a figment of,
Somebody's imagination.
Okay.
well, it was a great idea. It just never came to fruition.
Right.
So he can certainly handle that. If we make him project manager, which I believe we should, I was talking with Rebecca, that sort of gives him the ability to then work with the contractors. Instead of putting everything out to bid separately, he can then work with the contractors himself, which he is already doing. So that's one piece of it.
Let's touch on that one and get that one off the plate.
Okay.
if you don't mind.
Perfect.
Is this cost covered?
It's great.
Eric gave us a cost on this.
Yeah,
Which was, I think, $2,000.
there, yeah. He charged $50 an hour, but he only charged the town a fraction of the hours, which is very true. And, I'll be honest, he is like a shining star around here. He helps us do whatever we need him to do, so.
I have to say that, my ultimate availability over the summer for managing quote unquote, which I didn't do a huge amount of phase one. Eric did a tremendous amount. We communicated back and forth an awful lot. But he ultimately is the one who, managed this part of it. My availability over the summer is not gonna be, it's gonna be way less than it was. I've got 2 kids who are doing houses, one here in Pownell and one in Bennington, and I know where I'm gonna be. You know, so I think, and I think to touch on Tara's point, I think Eric knows this whole project inside and out. He already has his contractors lined up. We talked about him as project manager, the two of us. He's still ultimately, when there's a major decision that's gonna have to be made, it's coming to the board or me or whatever. If the board so chooses to keep me in that position, if someone else wants it, that's totally fine with me too. But I think it's a wise decision for this board to spend $2,000 to put Eric as the project manager for the whole second phase. He knows the contractors, he knows what's going on, he knows the prints, he reads the prints, it will cost us way more money to have someone else come in and I just don't have the time.
And he knows what's required. I mean, he's already reached out to Gunlow for the stamp drawings for the schoolhouse and, all of that sort of stuff that.
He's already formed his relationship with the state.
Yes.
And, you know, those entities that we need to have.
He's already talking with Connors and all that.
Then I make a motion that we make him project manager
Of phase 2.
of phase 2 at the town hall.
Second it.
Any more discussion and questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
So included in your packet, these are just drawings of the, concrete stuff that's gonna be done. But Eric, because it is all part of the same project, I will likely go with one of the concrete people that are already coming to do the sidewalks and that stuff. But one decision I need you to make is whether we're going to rent the propane tank or are we going to buy the propane tank? And you have your quotes. You'll notice the top one is a tank full of gas. You look down. Purchase price to purchase it is $87,0253. To rent it, is
$425 a year.
that might be a monthly.
That's materials.
Yeah, I think it's listed as materials. So basically, this is the 2,571. That is the total with a tank full of gas. That it would be.
For a purchase.
This
For
is
if
the
we rent
rented
it.
one.
If we
And
rent
then
it.
the purchase one is 11,000.
Yep.
And they're both from,
They're both
proposal
through
from
Blue Flame, yeah.
Okay.
And Jeff Miller is all set to do all of the digging and, to get the spot ready for it, because it has to go on the ground.
Run for stage line.
And that's only for 1 year, right? So the price would go up
Yes.
every year for the rental, correct?
Yes.
But renting it still will be almost 5 years to get to the point of the 11th of the purchase.
Well, when you rent it, then, but you're limited to that company. So
Where?
say the price of gas shot up and we want to take and put it out for bid. If we own the tank, we can go out for bid. That's the only plus side to the owning the tank.
And if you rent it, then you have to go with that company.
Correct.
And they could be, $3 higher than anybody else and you have no choice.
Right. That's the
If we rent, it'll be available early May. If we buy, it could be longer. It's another piece to take into
Is it
consideration.
an above ground tank or
Underground.
Or underground,
Okay.
yeah.
The only thing is ask about diodes, if you would, also.
Well, the purchased one is, there's two 17-pound supplied with it, right?
'Cause I didn't see it on the, let me see here. Okay, yeah. On the purchase one, they're including the anodes. So it just keeps the tank from degrading.
Oh, okay,
It definitely wasn't on the rented one. That's why I asked,
interesting.
so.
Looks like the
So-
425 is the rental fee per year.
Yeah,
No, I don't think so, because it's on both of them.
Oh, yeah,
The
yeah, you're right.
first three
You're
are on
right.
both. It's
Right.
the,
Yeah, you're right.
it is the, actually, I don't think I don't think the purchasing of the tank really saves us anything. Right? Because
The only thing that the purchasing of the tank does is I believe
labor is the same.
if we go with the rental fee, the rented tank instead, I believe we have to sign a contract for so many years.
right,
Which would lock us into their price no matter what it was.
right.
Right, and
Versus-
how many years is that, do we know?
I don't see
Doesn't
that.
say,
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Well, I guess, it still seems like the purchase is riskier to me, because these are recurring costs, right? And the recurring costs are the same for the $18.75, the $16, the $425, and the $230. The only thing that's different is the tax, which that doesn't really count, right? And that's in the purchase, it's the tax on the purchase price, which is the cost of the tank. And in this situation where they own the tank, we're not paying anything for the tank. There's nothing on here for the tank, right?
well, there's gonna be a rental fee.
It's probably a higher cost per gallon.
Yeah, most likely.
They have the same.
Well, they have the same cost per gallon here.
So, see, they don't have the rental fee on here. Why, I
They
don't know.
don't. Well,
But that's what he said the fee would be for renting, so that's what's confusing is why it's not listed
Okay.
separate.
so, I think, well, I just judging from, getting propane at home, I don't know if it works the same. But it used to be that the tanks, this is not Blue Flame though, I use a different company. But, it was the tanks were something like $5 or $10 a year. But that meant that you were buying their fuel and they still own the tank.
Right, no other person will fill that for you.
That's correct. If I wanted to change companies, I would actually have to,
That's.
swap that out.
Right.
But that particular company that does my house, and I don't know how relevant this is no longer gonna be renting the tanks. All their new customers will be buying tanks. So I'm not sure how relevant that's gonna be either. So I just wanna make sure we're gonna get something for our investment in it, because I mean, it's almost $10,000 more.
Well, that's why it's an unfair, it's not explained. The rental fee isn't explained in here and it should be.
Yeah, what's our out clause?
Right. Well, not just out,
That's the cell
but
phone and.
the fee itself is not listed.
Can you look into that?
Well, we need two things. We need both is there a rental fee for the tank? And
What is our contract?
what happens
Right.
if we want to change companies?
Because if we're gonna pay $425 to $500 a year for the next 20 years, it'd be better just to buy the dang tank.
Right, but looking at these two things,
It's
it's gonna be better to rent it. Because there is no rental fee.
I think-
And all the other costs are the same.
I can't believe it.
Sorry, I'm scribbling on your paper.
No, you're fine.
I don't believe
Do it
it.
anyway.
It's good to be true.
I have to make notes or I forget.
Yeah, it does seem strange, but I will,
The
Just give
advantage,
them a quick call
I
tomorrow,
will.
please.
I mean, the only additional fee, once you purchase it.
From Monday, tomorrow's Friday, you're out.
Approval and a tax every year. In Vermont, surtax.
And those are the same whether you rent or own.
Correct.
Plus, it's another piece of equipment owned by the town. I mean,
The trees, I think we're just gonna have Eric kind of, I'll probably help him get a few bids on tree removal up and down the street.
So just so the board knows,
Yeah.
when we move the schoolhouse, we have to have some tree work done on Center Street.
And the pine tree.
And the spruce tree in the front is gonna come down at the same
Going,
time.
We
right?
have to send out some letters to all the property owners, because the trees are probably on somebody's property.
They're in the town right away too, so
Okay,
they overhang. It's the road that we have to worry about.
okay.
Same thing, we have to coordinate with the power company. And to take lines down and stuff.
Yep.
So there's some coordination that has to go along.
Yep.
This spruce tree out here, under our tree warden, under his advisement should come down because it's a disease tree. My feeling is that we take it down at the same time we're doing everything else. They're
Absolutely.
here,
Get one bid.
get it on the ground.
Yeah,
And then I think at a later date, we'll
plant a tree.
talk about what we want to do about planting a tree. I think having a town Christmas tree out there or whatever is a really awesome idea. I just think we need to get something that's much more manageable too.
Yeah,
14 feet or, Dave Dent's had some prices a couple of years ago, but I'm sure they're obviously way out of. Well, that's something, get that down, get it, and then I would like to have something in here for next Christmas.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just something we can cross at a little later date. Doesn't have to be done now.
yeah.
Okay.
Reach out to local tree farms with larger trees and see
Yeah.
if they're,
He reached out to option 346.
yeah.
So the Pownell Historical Society, they have stuff in the building over there, furniture, appliances. Is that theirs? And I guess so we contact them to have them empty all that stuff out. Okay. And the flooring, he has to remove the flooring to do something, and I don't remember exactly what he said. But he doesn't know, do we want to try to save the wood floor that's in the schoolhouse or put down what's in here?
isn't that a historical question?
I'll get with Eric on that. Have him contact me, cause I'll forget to call him.
About flooring?
Yeah, I'll forget to call Eric about it, to be honest with you. If he contacts me, we can talk about that and then we can make that decision next board meeting. I mean, my gut feeling at this point, I don't know, without looking at it, I'd love to see if we could save it.
It'd be nice if we could. If it
Well,
cost-
on the flip side of it, it's gonna cost us a fortune to save it and refinish it and do whatever. Then, this floor looks to me like it's gonna be a really cool,
Yeah.
long lasting thing, so.
Okay.
Like I said, my gut's telling me I'd like to save that because of the historical part of it,
Yeah.
but, we have to be financially responsible too.
Okay. One more new town hall thing and then old town hall real quick. The front door, you guys had approved us doing privacy signs on the office doors as well as a stand-up one in the hall. After long discussion, I think we all kind of came to a consensus in the office. It might be a better idea to shut and lock that door that has the window on it, the second door, the second entry door.
Right, the vestibule.
And put some kind of a buzzer there, or even half a door so they can ring a bell or something along those lines. With a secure drop box in that area, so if they're just dropping a payment, they can stick it in there and nobody has to keep going out to collect payments. Disrupts Julie a lot, people dropping payments. So if that box was there, not a drop box outside for people to drop in, but a drop box
Inside.
that's inside, for
In
during
that
office
airlock, right.
hours.
Right, in the vestibule area.
Yeah, in that area. And have, on that door, sort of establish this beyond here, no public beyond here without.
This,
Suggested that originally.
and this was some pretty extensive discussion. I was in here for that whole discussion process. What the nice thing about that whole discussion process was that it was Tara was involved in it, Julie was involved in it, Ellen, they were all here at the same time, so that we could have that discussion where everybody came up with a really, the agreed upon plan, quote unquote. Everybody was totally on board with that whole setup. So, you know, I mean, the cost, the largest cost that we're gonna have is coming up with a buzzer system.
We can do a passive doorbell.
There's like with the school, there's a system that goes on the computer so you can see it.
Right.
And the button, the buzzer.
Right, no, that's, well,
And you can talk back.
right, I think there's a ton of options
Yeah.
out there, you know, but that's gonna be, the drop box is gonna be kind of an insignificant cost.
Yep.
You know, securing it to the wall and doing whatever you gotta do there, that's not huge. You know, we already have the door in place, the airlock's in place. I mean, if we went to a double door, then we change the door. But if you know, a Dutch door is what we're, you know, so the cost is the buzzer system, however we came up with. You know, that would be the biggest cost incurred.
And I wanted to bring it to you guys before we researched any of that pricing. Yeah.
I don't think it's as expensive as you guys think it is because we also did it.
You
in a
may be able to ask
Okay.
Woodard if that, he can put that, if that's something he can add in.
Yeah, I don't know, Jamie.
I don't know. I'm just.
Right, that's beyond my,
Right there.
I think, you know, in today's world, I think for the safety of everybody too, because of the situation that happened today, there was a potential seriously,
Oh, yeah.
okay, so that if we had that there,
Yeah, it's
That's why we kind of designed it that way, was so it could be secured and,
right.
yeah, somebody has to go answer the door, but
well, not really. You could have a buzzer system with your camera system set up, you know, there's a bunch of ways around that. So I think that's something we should research out and go forward with that part of it.
And the other small piece of that was, it's very hard for people when they come to the building to know whether we're here or open or not, because sometimes there might not be a vehicle in the parking lot, but there's still people here. So we were thinking something for outside with hours, and they make a lot of different options, but something we could
flag,
just.
don't you?
No, no flags. Not a flag, but like a
An
sign.
open flag, don't you?
Just so that, you know, people know what our hours are and it's on the building, something nice, you know, the glass doors that you can open and change the lettering inside, something along those.
I've seen churches have those a lot.
Yeah, that just says
When
like,
you're looking for like a 18
town
inch
clerk
by,
with her hours, treasurer, you know, whatever, so that we can each list our hours since they are.
can you research that out to them, bring it back to us?
Perfect. Last thing, Old Town Hall, everything's still on over there. Can I turn the heat off, shut the gas off, have it winterized? How do we want to leave it?
I guess we gotta walk over there and see what's
Security
left in
systems
there.
we're still paying. We're paying for 2 offices right now.
So there's a couple of things that we can't do, just so everybody knows. We can't shut the power off because the water for the firehouse comes through that building, through the center station. Okay, comes from that building over there. So we definitely can't shut the power off. I think it's time to open discussion on what we do with the building itself. And I think what I'd like to do is, I haven't really thought about this a little bit, but not a ton. I'd like to open it up to the taxpayers and the residents in town. I'd like to throw that on the website
For suggestion.
for suggestions on what to do with the building. In a suggestion box. Create something on that. On our social media pages. And then, bring it up at a meeting in, maybe the last meeting in May.
Yeah,
Could we have a realtor take a look at it and see what just a ballpark estimate on what it would be worth if we were to just put it up for sale? Because that's going to be one of the options.
I think it's a great idea, Bob, sure.
Gets it, we would get some kind of profit from it, and plus it would put it back on the tax rolls.
No, I think it's a great idea.
Has the fire department got a deeded water thing to that building? Or was that just impromptu because the town had both?
It was no, I don't know for sure, Jamie. I was the guy in the ditch, okay?
Yep.
I was, my dad was involved in that whole process, not me. I don't know I have no idea what the agreement is. I believe there was some contention at the time about why, but from other people. So I don't know if there's a deeded right-of-way agreement. I have no idea. I just know that
The water's coming.
water comes from that well.
Okay.
That's, over there when Lampman shut the water system off.
Yep.
So that's something we're gonna have to really take into consideration because we don't wanna shut the water off to the firehouse.
But that's why I asked.
I know, I doubt if there's anything in a deed or, I think it's
Agreement.
probably more of an agreement because the town owns both buildings basically.
Just like with the church,
That's right.
can't find any paperwork.
That's right.
An agreement.
So I gotta bet it's more of a verbal
Yeah.
agreement. Sometimes the verbiage at that time wasn't all that good. I can remember that, but. So I think what we should do is between now and, what would our last meeting in May be? I can look it up.
So I think it's 28, 20 something. Yeah.
If we stay on course for the 2nd and the 4th, it would be the 26th of May.
Okay.
Is that, you think that's a sufficient amount of time, Bob? You guys? You think?
Yeah.
I think so.
If we give
A month and a half.
give the residents and taxpayers
'Cause
6 weeks to voice their opinion, I think that's more than fair.
then if we wanted
To
something,
get a realtor in here to give us an idea of what it's worth. And then we can we don't have to make a decision then, but at least get us talking about what
We
to
should
do.
probably put out some feasible options, right? Because we're gonna get things like, suggestions are gonna be, boy, that'd be a great place for a coffee house, but that's not up to us. That's the for sale option.
You also have to remember there's a marker like 2 feet away from the building that is the center of Pownell. And the same with the flagpole. That is a memory for the Chafee family that was killed. And that's why that was put there. So you just gotta remember the history of the
Oh, that's
town.
true. That's true.
You don't want that.
We don't really want to,
You don't want to interrupt that.
right.
Yeah, that's true.
So just,
No, there's a lot of things to be considered
there's
here in
a
this
lot of
whole,
people don't probably realize that, but there is a marker. I think it's 2 feet from the building.
it's right there in the middle of the walkway.
Right, that is the center of
That is the
town.
geographic center of town.
Pownell, that's right.
Can we turn the alarm off?
There's nothing left in there, right?
No.
yeah, we can do that.
Okay, and the gas, just leave that alone for now, since
Should we say that on camera?
A little late.
I'm just kidding, Carol. I'm just kidding.
I don't see any reason to leave the gas on right now.
You can shut the heat off.
Shut the heat
I
off.
shouldn't get below 40 anymore until next winter.
Well, it's not gonna be sustained cold where it's gonna freeze anything in.
No,
I'm gonna say Saturday night's supposed to be 27, but it's supposed to warm up by 7 o'clock.
And it's not gonna
Today, so-
freeze the building.
No,
It's not gonna drop down below 50 inside,
no.
okay.
Well, you're not gonna go up there, she's not gonna go up and shut the gas off tomorrow.
Right.
No.
No. She's had a couple of late nights, both of them had a couple of late nights this week.
we're late tonight.
We're late.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
But if we get
Right,
the
you
right
didn't say anything
idea,
about the generator.
Mike, that's probably you.
Yeah,
that work out.
no, so we had an opportunity to, that's why I held it off from last month, or last meeting. We had a potential opportunity to buy a generator to really reduce costs. But unfortunately, it wasn't gonna work. it's a 208, 120 versus, so Joel and I went up, we met the individual and, so we proceeded with the plans for the generator. So that's just a matter of getting the pad. We put the generator on hold that was proposed anyway. It was gonna be about $8,000 to $10,000 savings. But it just wasn't gonna work, unfortunately. So luck of the draw, just wasn't gonna work for us, so. So we took care of that. That's ordered. The generator is put on hold. It's a matter of getting the pad in, and then Stan knows. I spoke with him. I think I spoke with him the exact same day we went up and looked at that generator, actually, or might have been the following Monday, but. So that's where that's at.
That's all I have.
Oh, if we're reaching out, I'm sorry, I'm taking a step backwards. If we're reaching out to a realtor, make sure that the realtor understands, because it's gonna be an option, the historic.
Why don't you get the girl that goes to the church here and that has, Hopkins house? What's her name?
Justine
Justine, thank you.
Do you know her last name?
Curry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Great suggestion.
Okay,
Yeah, she might know a little bit about the historic
right.
stuff going on there too.
Okay. I think so.
Maybe we'll get to, again, add the militia that bought the old close school and come back.
All right, so are we gonna open up for public comment?
Yeah,
before
public
executive?
comment, please.
Just following up.
There are 5 people out there. 3. Usually I can see that number better down in the corner.
We only got one person. no-
Anybody have any public comment? If you do, please raise your hand. And we'll entertain your public comment.
No.
Or if you prefer, you can take yourself off mute, just introduce yourself and start talking. Just to make it, just in case it was,
Right, just in case somebody couldn't raise their hand. Perfect, thank you, Bob. Give him a couple minutes. A little bit.
Are you the one that had to sign that?
yeah, there's only one
Yeah,
participant.
there was only one.
And I've already done.
Apologize that I.
Motion to come out of executive session?
Second,
All those in favor?
I'd like to make a motion that we hire Hannah to full-time at $17 an hour.
And the administrative assistant.
The administrative assistant. I was getting there.
Okay, sorry.
Effective immediately.
Second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Doing a great job.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Oh my gosh.
Good night, everybody.
I believe you're gonna have allergies because my ears.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, it started, I just started getting itchy ears. It's like.
I took